From Russia with Hope. Today is the 13th of April 2021 and I want to demonstrate you this. You can stop video and read it if you wish. This is levels of government engagement with ethnic minorities and indigenous communities. I decided to demonstrate 6 steps, and this video is devoted to these 6 steps and to describe the situation in Russia. So, first of all, if we speak about levels of government engagement and of interactions of any country, of any government with indigenous communities and ethnic minorities, we can say that we have 6 steps. The first step is genocide. The second step is linguocide and ethnocide with murder of passionaries. The third level is linguocide and ethnocide with other types of persecution of passionaries, except for their murder, for example, imprisonment or recognition by court as extremists. The fourth level is linguocide and ethnocide without persecution of passionaries, and the fifth level is multiculturalism, and the sixth level is support for linguistic and ethnic diversity. I will speak about these levels in this video, and let me describe the situation in Russia as of today. As of today, I think that we are somewhere between levels 2 and 3. I know that some linguistic activists from Caucasus were killed, and there were articles in some newspapers about it. So I can say that we don't have murders. Now we don't have genocide. There is no genocide in Russia now, but we have some peoples, some language activists who struggled for their languages, for their ethnic languages, not Russian language. They were killed. That's why sometimes it is level number 2. But in majority cases we have level 3. Linguocide and ethnocide with other types of persecution of passionaries, except for their murder. For example, imprisonment, recognition by the court as extremists, and so on. For example, Bashkort national organization Bashkort was, was recognized by the court as extremistic organization. The same situation with Tatar organization TOTS in Russian, Tatar Society Center. This organization was also recognized by the court as extremistic organization, but the only thing they did is they struggled for Tatar language, for Bashkort language, for federalism, and so on. And it's, according to my opinion, it is not extremism. But in Russia, we see that these organizations were recognized as extremists, and some people from these organizations were imprisoned. And another case is case of Ayradin Muhammedov. Ayradin Muhammedov is founder of the movement, the Fourth Bashkort Republic, and he is in prison now. He was sentenced for 9 years in prison, just for his struggle for federalism, and for creation of this movement, Fourth Bashkort Republic. We have lots of other cases in other republics. I don't know all of them. I know that, for example, the story of Rafis Kashapov, who was leader of Tatar Общественный Center, Tatarский Общественный Center, or in Russian, in English it will be World Tatar Society Center. He also was in prison, and some other cases. So we can say that all passionaries of nations of ethnic minorities are killed, but sometimes, and in very often cases, they are recognized by courts as extremists and they go to prison. In majority of cases we have level 3 in Russia now, but sometimes these people are killed. So it's very dangerous to struggle for languages, for rights of ethnic minorities in Russia, and so on and so on. So somewhere between these two steps. And as I know from information from articles from Billing Cat, for example, some people from Caucasus, language activists who struggled for their languages, were killed, even used by Novichok. Novichok poison was used to kill these language activists. So it's really very dangerous thing, and sometimes level 2, not level 3, sometimes level 2. If we speak about countries of Western civilization, in majority of cases you have multiculturalism. This is level 5, multiculturalism. Level 5. I want Russia to be part of Western civilization, and my fatherland is Bashkortostan. Bashkortostan is part of Russia now. I don't think that rights of Bashkorts, language rights of Bashkorts, and some other rights are okay here. And I want multiculturalism be in future Bashkortostan, in marvelous Bashkortostan of future. I want multiculturalism. It means rights of Bashkort children to have schools with teaching in Bashkort language, universities in Bashkort language, lots of animated cartoons, films in Bashkort language, and so on. We don't have it now. Right to pass exams in using Bashkort language, and so on and so on. And you know, I think that artificial intelligence can help in this situation, because I know that artificial translators already created. And if we add Bashkort language to this database of languages, which will be able to say words in Bashkort language, translate everything to Bashkort language. If, for example, you say in Russian, or in English, or in Korean, or in Japanese language, or any language you speak, in German language, to this for example, to this thing, you say something, and it translates to Bashkort language, and the person you speak can hear Bashkort words. And for example, this person says Bashkort, in Bashkort language something here, and this gives words in other languages, in languages which are in database. So I hope in future artificial intelligence will be able to help and to translate automatically from any languages to other languages, YouTube channels, subtitles on YouTube, lots of different videos, artificially making, how to say, voices in these languages, sounding films, and so on and so on. If by that moment Bashkort language is not died, will not die, due to actions of Russian government and Putin's regime, then I think Bashkort language will survive. It depends on the speed. What will be quicker? What will happen quicker? Development of artificial intelligence, which can translate from any language to any language, including Bashkort language, or actions of Putin's regime, Russification, and so on. So it's very important for all languages of ethnic minorities and indigenous communities, digitalization as soon as possible, and taking Bashkort language and other languages to lots of dictionaries, in internet, synthesis of voice, in order to be able to translate different videos automatically, subtitles to them to Bashkort language and other languages, and so on and so on. So it's not theme of this video. This video is devoted to these things. I think that sometimes in cases where indigenous communities and languages are in very dangerous situation, maybe sometimes in these cases support for linguistic and ethnic diversity should take place, maybe. So, okay, let me say some words about genocide. Unfortunately, in past we have lots of genocides in human history. We know that empires, when different empires acquire different territories, indigenous communities and indigenous people very often were killed. It is the situation of genocide. Maybe the situation when Cro-Magnons come to Eurasia and killed Neanderthals, people from Neanderthals, lots of them, not all, but lots of them. Maybe this situation can also be described as genocide, maybe, I don't know. Even in 20th century we have lots of cases of genocide. For example, in Soviet Union we have situation of deportation of Kalmyks, and approximately 50% of Kalmyks were killed because of deportation of them by Stalin's regime. And lots of other ethnic groups and nations were also killed. Chechens, Ingurs, Kabardins, Balkars, and some other. Approximately 11 different ethnic groups and nations inside Russia were deported, and I think that it is a situation of genocide. We have also a situation with the genocide of Bashkorts, not only in 18th century but in 20th century. As I know, more than 1 million of Bashkorts, population of Bashkorts decreased by more than 58%, or by more than 1 million people, because of hunger, because of war with Bolsheviks, with communistic regime, and so on and so on. So if your population decreases by more than 58%, it is genocide. So we had situation of genocide of Bashkorts in the 20th years of 20th century. It was approximately 1920, 1926, approximately these years. Situation of genocide of Bashkorts. This one. And we have lots of other genocides in Russia too. I speak about Russia, I don't speak about Cambodia. Cambodia, with now situation in Cambodia, is also a situation of Pol Pot, of genocide, and some other cases. Okay, if we speak about situation in China with Uyghur, I think it is level 2. Somewhere between level 1 and level 2 maybe. I can say that it is genocide. It is linguocide and ethnocide with murder of passionaries. And sometimes we have something like genocide. How to say? We can say that it is genocide. I think so. We have situations somewhere between these two levels in China with Uyghurs. And in Russia we have situations somewhere between levels 2 and 3. It is my opinion. If I am the person who can classify the situation with interactions of government with different indigenous communities and ethnic minorities, in this case I would say that in Russia we have a situation as of today somewhere between levels 2 and 3, and in China we have situation somewhere between levels 1 and 2, because we can't describe every level. Number of levels can be 20, 30, and so on. I just described 6 levels here. You see them here. Level number 4, it is linguocide and ethnocide without doing anything with passionaries. You know, passionaries are people who struggle for their nation, for their ethnic minority, for their rights, for their languages, and so on and so on. And interest rate of passionaries inside any ethnic group is not much, is not very high. That's why government can, in order to kill any language and kill any, how to say, to make ethnocide, yes, for example, to make Russification, to make Bashkort people to think that they are not Bashkorts, that they are Russians. They are Ruski, so-called ethnic Russians, not citizenship. I mean, not citizenship, but ethnic group. The same situation as in China, for example. Chinese people want Han. In China, we have Han people, which are 77% of population of China, which who want to make other ethnic minorities to think that they are not people from these ethnic minorities groups. They are not Uyghurs, Tibets, and other ethnic minorities. They all speak Han language, Chinese language, and forget their religions and think that they are Han. And this situation is called ethnocide. And linguocide is a situation when any government tries to kill languages of ethnic minorities. So when any government tries to make ethnocide and linguocide, it has the situation when majority of people from this ethnic minority group do not struggle against it, and only pensionaries struggle for their rights, for their languages. And in these cases, these governments can try to kill these pensionaries, or how to say, recognize them as extremists in order to imprison them to prisons and so on and so on. Some other actions except murders sometimes. Sometimes they kill them. So that's why I divided linguocide and ethnocide situation to levels 2, 3, and 4. Level 2 is linguocide and ethnocide with murder of pensionaries. Level 3 is linguocide and ethnocide with other types of persecution of pensionaries, except for their murder. For example, imprisonment, recognition by the court as extremists, as in Russia now happens sometimes. Sometimes murders happen. And level 4 is linguocide and ethnocide, without doing anything to pensionaries. In countries of Western civilization, you have multiculturalism. It is level 5. If we speak about multiculturalism, maybe we should think about different groups of ethnic minorities, because sometimes ethnic minorities are not indigenous communities. Indigenous communities are people who live on these territories for lots of years, who were born there lots of years ago, and they are on these territories not because of how to say, they came several years ago and so on and so on. And maybe I think that maybe indigenous communities should have more rights than just any other ethnic minorities. They should be maybe different. Maybe, I don't know. I can't say the 100% that I am right and so on and so on. But in any case, I know that even people who came to Europe, for example, refugees from Syria and so on, they have lots of rights. They have lots of rights. And in situation of multiculturalism, if we compare their rights to rights of indigenous people, for example, in Russia, we see that even indigenous peoples in Russia have less rights than refugees in Europe. I think it's not correct. It's not the story that should be in how to say, in the world, which should be fair, and so on and so on. At least multiculturalism should be on the territories where indigenous communities live. At least indigenous communities should have their animated cartoons, films in their languages, rights to have universities, schools in their languages, rights to pass exams in their languages, and so on and so on. So let me just demonstrate you this table one more time, and let me say about ethnic minorities and indigenous communities in Russian Federation one more time. Bashkort nation are not ethnic minority. We are ethnic minority, not only ethnic minority, we are ethnic minority, but we are also indigenous community. We lived here on the Urals for more than 1,000 years. It is our fatherland. And lots of other peoples who live in Russia, also indigenous communities. Bashkorts, Mari, for example, Udmurt, Erzya, Moksha, and so on and so on. We are all indigenous communities. We are not refugees who came to Russia and so on. We are people, we are indigenous communities, and we have the right to our fatherlands, to our national republics, and so on and so on. So that's the way I wanted to say. We shouldn't be blamed by the fact that we don't have our states, independent states. Our ancestors lived here for hundreds of years. We are not refugees. We didn't came here we lived in the lands. Our ancestors lived on these lands for lots of years, for lots of hundreds of years, before Russian Empire, before even ethnic Russians appeared, because they appeared not too much time ago, and so on. This is levels of government engagement with ethnic minorities and indigenous communities. One more time. And I think that multiculturalism is a great thing. And I hope that Russia and Bashkortostan will be part of Western civilization in future. And I want multiculturalism win, and sometimes maybe support for linguistic and ethnic diversity should also win. When I speak about multiculturalism, I don't say that everybody should, I understand that, for example, English language is the world language, and maybe in future majority of population of the world will speak English language. But people who want also to save their own languages, their own cultures, they should have ways to do it. And as I said before, if we have artificial intelligence which can translate to different languages everything, it will not be difficult. It will be very easy. If you have artificial intelligence which translates everything from YouTube channel, for example, other things, it will be very easy. And that's why digitalization of different languages is very important. Okay, I guess that this video is very long, but in any case, please pay your attention to these levels of government engagements with ethnic minorities and indigenous communities. One more time. According to my opinion, we are somewhere in Russia between levels 2 and 3, and China somewhere between levels 1 and 2, and majority of countries of Western civilization are on level 5. And I hope that in marvelous Bashkortostan of future, we will be on level 5 or maybe level 6. I don't know. It was from Russia with Hope. Thank you for your attention and good luck.